delivering the ANC's election manifesto at the Moses Mabhida Stadium yesterday, party president Cyril Ramaphosa told scores of supporters that the party will focus its efforts on 6 key priority points in the next 5 years. Ramaphosa said the party will create over 2.5 million job opportunities, progressively increasing the 350 Rand unemployment grant, as well as transforming an inclusive economy and pledging investment infrastructure towards energy, roads, while also modernizing policing to deal with the scourge of crime. Are these tangible goals given the challenges that continue to exist at the party helm? Well, let's get some analysis. Political analyst Dr Zamo Mbandlwa joining us and weighing in on this discussion. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Bold promises being made yesterday. Of course, looking at the capacity of the stadium, packed to the rafters, was that a show of force, and are we going to see those big numbers, likely to see the big numbers translate to votes come 29 May?
Good morning to you, Mpho, and good morning to your viewers. Well, you are raising a very important point now in terms of the capacity and the number of people that have attended the manifesto launch of the ANC. Well, all political parties have a capacity to fill up the stadium, but it does not translate to the political party winning elections. And also the ANC might have been able to fill up the stadium, but it does not translate to the victory in the upcoming elections. Well, no political party leaders will come to the public and accept that they might not win the elections. All political parties are contesting because they want to win elections. And now moving to the 6 priorities that the president of the ANC spoke about, I think all the priorities link. There is a link in all the priorities, and I would say if you are able to run the economy in a right way as the leader of the country, you wouldn't want to talk about the thing that you've spoken about, particularly the issue of the 350 social relief grant. If the economy was okay, there was not going to be a need for us to have a social grant because people will be employed, people will be contributing significantly to the economy of the country. And also the living conditions or the high living cost. If the economy was good in the country, there was no need to actually worry about the living cost because there was going to be a relationship between the spending and the money that people receive through the employment opportunities that are available. And I see that there is a plan to increase the employment opportunities in the next 5 years. Well, another tricky part is how these political party leaders define employment and how they take credits for such employments. In other words, in many cases, political parties and government institutions in various levels claim to have created jobs, even if it's temporary job. People that are employed for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, they claim that type of job as an employment opportunity that has been created by that entity or by that political party. Well, accordingly, I don't think that should be classified as a job because what happens after 6 months? What happens after 3 months? So I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah,
and also if you are looking at it,
promise, especially looking at the big number. I mean, that's over 2.5 million jobs. The president promised that if they voted back into power, quite a big number, making the president essentially the country's biggest employer.
Yes. In fact, this was I was actually focusing on now, saying that if you are looking at the trend, there's no time where the government have created even 1 million jobs. I remember in some time in one of the election manifestos, they made a promise to create 1 million employment opportunities. But this time has been doubled. They want to create more than 2 million job opportunities, which I think is highly impossible in the current economic situation in the country. So I don't think, but also during the manifesto campaigns, the focus is not on what is likely to happen. The focus is to say what people want to hear so that they can have confidence in you and they can vote for you. And I think many political parties are doing that, not just the ANC only. I think they are fully aware that whatever promises that they are making to the people are not possible because of the economic situation of the country and the global market.
What we do know is that the ruling party does indeed have a tough task ahead come May 29, with some polls giving it less than 50% support. And former President Jacob Zuma's new MK party tipped as a serious contender in the KwaZulu-Natal province. We're now looking at the front page of the City Press this morning, that there are allegations of threats and intimidation between the two parties. What are the likelihoods and how much muscle can the MK party now wrestle with the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal?
Well, I think it's a given that the ANC is unlikely to win the election, the province, in these national and provincial government elections. And I think they are aware that even though there was no MK in the past, the ANC did not win overwhelmingly the province of KwaZulu-Natal because there was strong opposition from the IFP, the DA, so it was very difficult. Now that there is an MK on board, it becomes extremely difficult for the ANC to have confidence that they will win the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And also, I think it's in human nature that when people from the same family argue on particular issues, it really becomes a problem, and at some point it escalates to violence and physical fights. And this is why we have seen in the past, recently, that the ANC supporters and the MK supporters are loggerheads fighting with one another. I think it's simply because those who are in the ANC are very much unhappy about those who have left the ANC. And those who are in the MK are not happy about those who still remain in the ANC, why they are not joining them. I think that is the cause of the conflict amongst the members or the supporters of the MK and the supporters of the ANC. But also, I would like also to say, MK and ANC issues are not only found in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Even in other provinces, you'll see that happening, particularly towards the election day, whereby there will be party agents, there will be supporters in various platforms, and they will contest. Because remember, they are now contesting the same space. So we are likely to see a lot of conflict amongst supporters of both political parties.
Talking about those who are leaving or those who have issues with the ANC, the Sunday World is talking about Lindiwe Sisulu having had and hosted MK party members in her home, and then the paper reads to say that she said that she will always be a member of the ANC, and of course quashing the idea that she will be jumping ship, even though she's expressed openly her dissatisfaction under President Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership. What does that tell us about some of the efforts to woo senior leaders out of the ANC to have them join the MK formation?
Yes, I think in the main, what does this says to us is that there are so many leaders and members of the ANC who are very active, some of them are deployed by the ANC, who does not agree to what the ANC is currently doing or how the ANC is leading the government and how the ANC is conducting its own political affairs as the political party. So in other words, those members who don't find joy inside the ANC, who don't find proper platforms or who feel or believe that the platforms that are provided by the ANC are not conducive or does not solve the problem that they have foreseen, I think they might not vote for the ANC and they don't want to come out of the ANC, but they don't want to also empower the ANC by voting for the ANC. I think there are so many of them who are hiding behind the banner of the ANC. But when it's time for elections, they might vote for the MK. There are high possibilities that many people who are supporting the ANC just for them to secure their employment and also to secure a lot of things that they've gained under the leadership of the ANC, and now they want to actually vote for the MK, but they don't want to be seen associated with the MK. I think that is the main problem in many regions or in many provinces.
As the ANC,
and I think,
yeah, no, continue.
Yes, and I think we will be surprised that many prominent figures in the ANC are sharing the same sentiments. They don't want to disassociate themselves with the ANC, yet they don't want to empower the ANC through the vote, and they are seen supporting the ANC in all platforms where the ANC is having gatherings, and quite a few that I know that have shared the same sentiment.
So, as the ANC fights its most challenging election in 30 years, and all the big promises that have been made, of the ANC's 6 key priorities announced yesterday, no bold promises were made insofar as load shedding is concerned. And that, of course, has had a ripple effect when it comes to the economy, job creation, and, I mean, businesses have shut down. People's lives are on hold.
Yeah. Yes, you are raising an important point in terms of the load shedding and the power generation. There was no bold statement, indeed, as you have mentioned. And also, I think the government has not been able to clarify the issues, whether is it the economic issue or it's a power generation issue. And at this point, the government does not think that the load shedding or the power generation should be the priority. If they are looking at the other issues among the 6 priorities that they spoke about, you can't find issues that are related to load shedding and the power generation. And I think you can't really empower people on the other part, but on the other hand, you are disadvantaging them. Because, well, if you are saying there will be job opportunities, people will be employed, but because of the power generation or the load shedding, people will end up losing their jobs as well. So it's like you are empowering people on the other hand, but on the other hand, you are disempowering them. So I think there is no clear plan at the moment. And I think at the moment also the ANC it dwelled much on the past achievements. And it seems like the ANC, in fact, on all platforms, the leaders, when they speak to the public, they speak as if the public is owing them something. And I always say, well, many people acknowledge and appreciate that the ANC has done a lot for them, but it doesn't mean that if the ANC is not doing right today, so people must dwell on the past and support the ANC regardless of what the ANC is doing today.
What the manifesto also spoke about was the NHI, how it will indeed be implemented over the 5 years. But looking at the budget speech by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, an allocation of only 1.4 billion rand was set aside for this plan, which really doesn't make sense.
Exactly, and at some point, Mpho, I just think that political leaders or the cabinet ministers and the president does not communicate before making statement or even drafting some documents, because there is no correlation to what the president has spoken about in terms of the health sector and the minister. And I'm sure when the ministers speak, he will say something different compared to what we expect and the budget allocation and the plans of the government, as mentioned by the president. I think there's no correlation between all these critical leaders of the government.
Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in on this discussion, helping us make sense of the outcomes of the ANC's election manifesto launch yesterday, Dr. Zamo Mbandlwa.